The new Kiprun Kipsummit Race reminds me in so many ways of another high-powered trail super shoe, which I am very fond of. I am talking about the North Face Vectiv Pro 2. Yes, that is another mouthful of a model name there. Early stages of a 20-mile long run here. I did have these comparative thoughts though on a previous run. Already had this one planned in the Kipsummit Race, so a little bit of a different format here today. I'm gonna kind of talk through the bullet points of what I think are comparable between these two shoes and a few kind of slight and still key differences. I'm not going full A/B test run out here today, but I will do a close-up segment at the end where I take a deep dive into both of these shoes in hand. So just thoughts on the run for now. Stream of consciousness. I'll try to keep it tight. I do have about 3 hours here on this run to think about what I'm going to say as I go. I'll also give a training update. 2 weeks out of 12 down on the road to Biggs towards that Banana Slug Backyard Ultra. I'll mark that down in the chapter so you can skip to it or around it as you wish. The first and the most important similarity between these two shoes is, of course, the ride, the feel of the shoe on the run. You could use every buzzword imaginable to describe the ride and feel of that Vectiv Pro 2. Energy return, dynamic, efficient. I raced that shoe in a local fast 20K here in town, all the way up to the Kodiak 100K. And it did not disappoint in either of those races. Kind of soft nitro TPU Dream Foam in that North Face shoe there, similar to this one, firmed up with a winged carbon fiber plate in the mix. You've got no wings in this Kiprun shoe, but a forked carbon fiber plate up front. Both shoes share that aspect of having what might otherwise be a overly soft, maybe unresponsive midsole foam, not as responsive, I should say. And when you pair it with that carbon fiber plate, of course, adding that propulsion, it also changes the nature of the foam itself. The feel of that foam itself, totally different with the plate compared to it having that midsole foam on its own. I've talked about going back to Kiprun and confirming that it really was the same ATPU midsole foam in both the Max and Race models. The Max without the plate in the mix definitely feels noticeably softer. Definitely more wobble in that one without the plate in the mix to kind of give a little bit of structure to the midsole as a whole. The weights on both of these models are pretty good. I thought the Pro 2 weight at the time was pretty good, but the new Kipsummit Race here undercuts it by a notable margin. I do wear the same US 10 in both models, and the Kiprun shoe, of course, has a lot more outsole coverage underfoot, which typically leads to a weight increase. So I guess that's just really a demonstration of what you're getting with that new ATPU midsole foam. Similar dynamism underfoot in the ride. More outsole again, and a notably lower weight here. Stack height's also very close between these two models. It was a little tricky to measure the Pro 2 due to that heel rocker there. I think it's overall more of a rocker shoe, both front and back. I kind of had to tilt it back just a little bit to get the spot where I felt the center of the heel was located. Again, when I do my measurements, I do not include any airspace between the bottom of the shoe and the ground. That leads me straight into my second similarity between these two shoes, and that is the geometry. Talked about the Pro 2 having a little bit more rocker. I think that is evident, but both shoes do have that similar kind of smoothness of a rocker. I'm talking about from the ball of the foot forward to the toes, where you're gonna be if you're moving along pretty fast in a trail super shoe like these. I find that you just go really smoothly from that ball of the foot, midfoot landing right up into the toes. You don't have that huge kind of angle of a steep toe sweep up front that a lot of shoes lean into, more so on the road probably. Pro 2 does have a little bit more of that roll at the heel, I would say. Kiprun shoe here has it a little bit. It's more of like a kind of angled cutout on the lateral side of the heel. Not really noticeable on the run, but if you're standing there and kind of tilt back a little, you'll notice that kind of dip off to the outside there, outside heel. Both shoes share that nice, wide, stable midfoot landing area. Just the feel of being planted, centered around the middle of the shoe. I always like that feel in a trail shoe, and I think that's what really makes them both work for both shorter and longer ultra distance and even shorter distance trail races. Coming up on one of my favorite fun twisty descents over here, so I'll talk about the foothold, foot security, and also that ground platform here. I love the fit of the Pro 2. That Vectiv rocker I was talking about seems to push the midfoot of the shoe into the bottom of your foot, giving quite a bit of arch support, but I find that really especially locks the heel in and overall just seats the foot really well in the shoe without any movement. That's one of the best fitting trail shoes that I've got. And coming down here, similar feel with the Kipsummit Race. I don't have the same feel of the middle of the shoe, that rocker area pushing up into the arch. It is supportive under the arch though, but it's kind of, I would say, a little flatter, not as aggressive as the North Face shoes in general, but giving a similar kind of secure feel, like the heel is really getting pushed back into the cup there, really securing the foot. Coming down here, I'm not noticing any foot slippage, even in my prior test runs. I think I did do this section in my first video, and this is a very secure fitting shoe here from Kiprun. Just like a stack, the platforms are very close between these shoes. Forefoot and heel are almost exact. In fact, a little bit tighter, a little bit narrower on the middle of the shoe with the North Face there, but again, got that rocker pushing up into the midfoot. It's not a narrow shoe at all around the middle of the foot. Both shoes very nice, and for me, what I like in a platform around the middle of the shoe there. Ultraspire Zygo 6 check here. I've got a full 2 liters with me today. 1 liter in the back with the bladder, this hose here, and I got 2 16-ounce flasks up front. Went with the smaller ones today. I talked about how with these pockets down here, they can be held up pretty well. These are not the larger ones that came with the vest. 16-ounce Ultraspire ones, Hydro Pack. I got these straws here. Really like this setup because I'm not using the bottle loops. Sometimes I don't like kind of taking them on and off, but with these little micro short straws that I fashioned, even if it does slip down a little, I can just grab it and pull it up pretty quickly. So this is a favorite kind of little straw setup here for racing and also training here. While I'm at it, another reminder here that GOREWEAR is in its final mile. I'm wearing the Ultimate 2-in-1 shorts today. Great long run short here. Got the waistband storage here, which I love. I got my Sound Peats clip-on headphones here, chapstick. I use these little side pockets here for my trash during training and also racing. And I did throw a couple of gels in the rear just because I have my camera stuff in the front here, just a tripod and the action cam, so I want to kind of spread things out a little. Again, the final day for GOREWEAR is March 31st. Crazy discounts right now, sometimes up to 60%, and use my code HUMBLE15 for an extra 15% off. That also goes on top of the sale items. If there is something you like, I would suggest pick it up right now. Don't wait for further clearance discounts because they're gonna run out of your size. So they're already discounted enough. Such a great deal already. You don't want to miss out on something you really want and then come back and see that it's only in some odd size. Talk a little bit about fit and sizing there with the geometry, but Just to reiterate, I have both in a US 10. The Race here feels larger in a 10 than its companion Max model. I was initially very nervous about how big this 10 felt, especially in comparison to the Max, but I'm 10 miles in today, about an hour 33. Also did some other test running in it. Also talked about the security of this shoe. I'm not moving at all here in this shoe. Also in my Cloud Ultra Pro snow run sort of comparison video, I talked about maybe a potential pinch point around the pinky toe. I think, at least for me, and at least if you don't have an overly high volume foot, you should be okay as long as you size properly. Please make sure you have a full thumb's width of space up front in the shoe, especially if you plan on using this shoe in longer distances, ultra races. I can guarantee you, you will not have issues with this shoe being a little bit oversized. It's more likely that you would have issues with this shoe feeling a little bit snug, a little bit low volume over the top of the foot and in the toe box. So again, just make sure you have proper sizing and space up front especially. The Pro 2 does have more of a tapered shape up front, as with a lot of the North Face models, excluding the new Ultimate 500 V2. Most of them do have that bit of taper up front at the toes, and that's part of the reason why I typically go with half size up in the North Face, and I'm totally comfortable in that sizing. But with that more enhanced taper up front with the North Face shoe, and also I talked about a little bit more rocker up front also with the North Face shoe, it kind of puts the squeeze on the toes at the very front there. Something to be aware of at an equal US 10 in both of these shoes here. Broader toe box, especially at the front in the Kiprun shoe. Also more space in front of the toes. Feels about not a half size shorter with the North Face, maybe quarter size shorter compared to this one in the same sizing, US 10 for me. Moving on to differences between the two shoes, and I think it's pretty obvious. Gonna be the outsole here. Vibram Mega Grip with the Kiprun shoe. Full coverage, deep lugs, lots more of them in fact. North Face outsoles have traditionally been a little bit questionable. Definitely the case with that Pro 2 model. Durability also a big issue with that one. No such durability concerns here with the Vibram, of course. The Kiprun shoe here just takes any question about the outsole out of the equation here. North Face is working with the new surface control rubber compound though, starting with that Ultimate 500 V2. They're going to use that compound going forward in the rest of their trail models. So look for improved outsoles from the North Face in future models. Time for a quick training update. Again, go ahead and skip through this chapter if you are disinterested in my personal training. If you are interested and want a little more background, go back to my last backyard session Q&A and I talk about where I'm at leading into today. 2 weeks down here, 10 weeks to go to my target event, Backyard Ultra Banana Slug out in Oregon. This 20 miler is going to cap off 90 plus mile week. May hit a little more depending on if I get the 20 exactly here, but I think I did 84 the week before, so 84 and then 90 coming out of pretty minimal or light training in that last backyard session. I talked about a lot of travel, a lot of life things going on, a little bit of a back injury, trying to just get back into it. Had a few pretty low weeks there, a ski week, a week where back was out, travel. I think I had a 12-mile week somewhere in there, a week where I didn't run for like 6 days in a row, which is probably the longest ever for me. So I was able to get back into it relatively quickly, hit some decently good mileage the past 2 weeks. I think it just goes to show that fitness doesn't really go too far away as long as you're not completely letting yourself go. I think probably a lot of you could relate. Late fall after a long season, holiday time, depths of winter, not so much around here, but you know what I'm talking about. just letting yourself slide a little bit. So your fitness doesn't totally disappear, but you just kind of have to work your way back into it gradually, and that's kind of what I've done. Left hip has actually been nagging me a little bit, probably throughout this entire 2-week period. Going back to that one single day I did Nordic skiing, I noticed my left hip flexor was just super tight the whole time, not my right, which is kind of odd. And I just kind of chalked it up to, this is my first time Nordic skiing in years, maybe overdid it, it's kind of gonna go away. And it kind of didn't. So it's just been kind of dragging on me a little, kind of a dull little irritation there that I've been working with. To kind of build up through that, I've been leaning into a little more treadmill running. I'm lucky enough to have a treadmill in my house, so been doing like a lot of days 2 treadmill sessions in a day. I would go in the morning and then later on in the evening. Not really paying attention too much to what exactly the paces are on there. I found that slight grades were less of a bother for my hip there. So I'd set it at like 2 or 3% and then just go for, at the beginning, say 50 minutes, leading into an hour, then a little more than an hour per session, and just really ramping up the pace very gradually over, say, 10, 15, 20 minutes, until I found a spot where the hip was more comfortable than the beginning of the run, and a pace that I could hold for, say, the portion of that run that would be steady, say 30, 40, 50 minutes. I also started doing some more targeted foam rolling, more so this past 90-mile week here. Initially, I thought it would just kind of go away. Wishful thinking, right? Everybody thinks that, but it's just kind of dragging a little. I went to Stretch Lab as I normally do, got stretched out, got some advice. I should really target it with the roller, and that does seem to have helped a bit. This, what am I, coming up on 14 miles here. What is this? About 202 on the run here, and it's probably the best it's felt over the past 2 weeks, so hopefully I'm on the other side of that one. It is somewhat fortunate, or I would say helpful, that my target event is a backyard ultra, so I don't have to worry about too much specificity. It's really all about just logging time, volume, miles, however you want to call it. I don't have to worry about getting vert in, specificity of terrain. Just have to get out there and put the time in, put the miles in. That ends up being on a treadmill because it is more beneficial to a little nagging injury here and there. So be it. Doesn't hurt me at all. It's still time on the run. I am picking up a little bit of vert on today's run, but that's not really an issue. Just want to get out of the house, be out for a while. The benefits of also carrying a lot of fluid on my pack, heavy weight here, not something I need in the backyard ultra, but in terms of buzzword alert, muscular endurance, that will be helpful, especially building up further away from the event. As I get closer, I'm gonna lean into more specific, if you wanna say, backyard style running, flat stuff, even kind of simulations. I've done this before. Start from my house, run the 4.16777 miles, come home, take a little break, go out, next hour on the hour, and so forth as I would in the event. But that's more so towards the middle / end of my training block. I'm doing a typical kind of 4-week cycle here. Again, 12 weeks total, so 3-week build, then 1 week of kind of recovery. And I'm gonna do that 3 times, or maybe adjust a little bit in the last one, tapering into the event. So next week, week 3, another build week. I'm gonna be looking for 100-miler next week. We'll see how it goes. This is all somewhat fluid. Those are kind of roughly what I'm trying to do. I'm not married. I'm not gonna force myself to do something if it doesn't feel right. But if all goes well, hopefully I'll hit that 100 miles next week, then back off a little bit for the 4th week of recovery. Next weekend, I'll probably try to load up a little more mileage on the weekend, maybe a little bit more packed into the 2-day Saturday, Sunday. I went a little lighter yesterday in advance of this 20 today. So I'll probably try to start stacking the volume a little closer together, generally speaking, as I go on. So I've got about 5 miles to knock out here to finish up this run. see a little bit of a close-up comparison between these two shoes here once I get back. May have to zigzag around a little bit to hit the 20 if I'm a little short. Training does not have to be fancy. You don't need a nice big scenic loop sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta go around and get it done. I think I had a flyby just now with Lottie Brinks. I think that was her dog, and I'm not sure. I might have spied a Tecton X4, although I'm not certain. Maybe if her dog stops for a potty break, I'll be able to catch up with her. All right, I'm back home. Quick little mini backyard session here. Post-run recovery engaged. Did about 20.2 miles, 254, about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. Again, that wasn't really the focus here. Training for a backyard ultra, but comes with the territory around here. Here we go. I've got the Tailwind recovery mix. Mix that up. I had the vanilla earlier, kind of spilled it all over the countertop. Awesome flavor there. It is vegan, as I alluded to in my previous video. Definitely love that one. Something new from Hodos Labs here. These are based out of Portland or the Portland vicinity. I've got a magnesium reset spray here. Muscle fatigue relief, lucid dream enhancer. You're supposed to spray this on your muscles post-run for recovery aspect there. I'm a big fan of magnesium, I guess in general. The pillar triple magnesium is something that I use for sleep. I find that works pretty awesome for me. I get a great night's sleep when I use that. Zero parabens, zero sulfates, zero synthetic fragrances here. I was told to rub this on sore muscles and also the bottom of your feet, which is quite interesting. I just got these in for test literally a day or two ago, so you can hear more on these, but did have a 20-miler in the books today, so I figured I'd give that a shot. I was talking about my hip being a little bit wonky. I rubbed that a little bit over. Had to close the curtains for that operation. Also for the bottom of the feet. No close-up videos on that one, so sorry about that. Also, I've got a Hodos Labs Wildwood Western Red Cedar. This is a deodorant here, and it smells really good. Kind of like a really nice, you know when you put those shoe trees in, and I had this in my underarm, but still smells pretty good there. I think they also have some sun protection creams, a couple maybe other items, but I'm really in initial testing phase right now, so check back in, especially about this magnesium reset spray here. When they showed up in the package, actually, there was a little bit of a leakage here. Not a big deal, but the smell of this one is incredible. Take a look at the ingredients real quick. Magnesium chloride hexahydrotol, not sure, distilled water, sea salt, essential oils, lavender and bergamot mint here. I guess that must be it. It was a tiny bit leak there. That's not the point. The point is I opened the mailbox and this fragrant smell came wafting out to me, and ooh, I knew it was on the way. So I was like, oh wow, that's pretty nice. I wonder what the mailman was actually thinking. Hodos Labs here, something to keep an eye out for. I'll be testing these. All right, let's get to the shoes. Actually, before that, I did run into Lottie Brinks at the bottom portion of that run there. I saw her off in the distance. She was on an easy run, she later told me. I was trying to catch up to her, but couldn't really do it. Her dog, I guess, had to take a little stop there. Super nice. We were chatting shoes, Hoka shoes. She was not actually running in the Hoka Tecton X4. She had Speed Goats on, but I guess she had a woman's version, and it was kind of like bright purpley, really nice colorway there. I think when I was running in the opposite direction earlier, I kind of saw the flash of them and thought it might be the X4. According to her, the X4 is on the way, in development. Not so much details on that one available yet, even to her, as far as she says. So keep an eye on that, maybe in the more distant future. It's funny, I actually was at REI yesterday and I got a chance to check out the Speedgoat 7. The fit was actually pretty good. I like the rounded shape of the toe box. It was definitely less tapered than previous Speedgoats that I have not gotten along with. And Lottie did say that the 7 was definitely, in her mind, better than the 6, and also maybe, I think she said it was better than previous Speedgoat versions that she had tested. One thing she also zeroed in on, she looked at my shoes and she saw that Stryd Pod 5.0 right here and was asking me about that. So I gave her a little bit of a rundown of the Stryd Pod situation there, GPS accuracy, using the power on the run. Stryd, if you are watching this, Hoka Pro athlete Lottie Brinks, Stryd Curious. Maybe have a chat with her or something. Reach out. Back to the shoes here. 37-31 stack with the Kiprun shoe here. That is a measured stack here. I measure 37 at the heel. I measure 36-30 for this Vectiv Pro 2 here. And you can kind of see, you can see the Vectiv roll here. Big sweep at the toes and even a little bit at the heel. So as I'm measuring, I'm doing my best guess to kind of get where the center of my heel is going to fit in the shoe. So I have to kind of like rock the shoe back a little. So as I'm measuring, I kind of rock it back a little like this, and then I measure from 36 from here until the surface beneath the shoe. So 36-30, 37-31 here, 1 mil, negligible difference there. So very close feel underfoot. Again, I talked about the foam, the plates on the run, and stack heights being the same. Getting a closer look at the fit here. Just get this out of the way so we can have a look. You can see the shape of the toe boxes here, exactly what I was talking about on the run. A little bit broader in this one. I feel like I definitely have more space in this US 10, and also the shape of it. It's just, see this little part right here, and it just kind of rounds out a little more smoothly, more comfortably, I would say, in this Kipsummit Race model here. Definitely, I would say, traditional, again, outside of the Alta Mesa 500 V2 that I'm currently running in a lot. That has a wide, spacious kind of toe box, probably similar in shape to this in that it kind of stays rounded out at the front. This one here and other North Face shoes in the past definitely tapers a bit. And then with that rocker up front, it really kind of forces the toes a little bit together at the front of the toe box. Again, I did 100K in this shoe, so it wasn't too much of an issue. The one thing I did feel, and something of an issue, this thing kind of angles in. Others have had this issue before. This setup is not in the new Pro 3 model, but the Pro 3 model is a whole different animal. I would say definitely not comparable to either of these shoes here, certainly not the race model. The weight of that one is up there, and the feel is just completely different. These two are way closer than anything that the Pro 3 is throwing at you. But again, generally, shape of the toe box here, that was one difference. Looking at the ground platforms, 119, 90, 98 here with the Kipsummit Race, lining them up side by side. I didn't measure this one exactly, but it's pretty much exactly the same at the forefoot and the heel. You can see a touch narrower under the midfoot there. You can see how it kind of pinches in and out there, whereas this one kind of is rounded there. So maybe a little 5 mil narrower here, but that really doesn't make much of a difference at all on the run. Take a look at this outsole here. So I had that 20K fast race in this and the 100K at Kodiak. You could see a little bit of abrasion. I could definitely tell that this one is wearing a little bit quicker than I would like. You're not going to have that issue at all with Vibram Mega Grip here in the Kiprun shoe. So something that will be improved from the North Face going forward with their surface control compounds going forward. Do a last little final zoom in here. You have a significant toe sweep still in the Kiprun model, but you could probably tell it's flatter on the ground from here to here. Again, I talked about that toe sweep. It is still quite aggressive in this shoe, but you're not really landing back here. You're kind of landing over here, really more so over here. But I could feel when I'm standing in this shoe, if you lean yourself back, you kind of want to teeter off back in the lateral direction here. Let's grab this North Face shoe over here. So this one here, you could tell pretty much looking at it, you're pretty much off the ground, even all the way over here and even over here. So whereas putting the Kiprun shoe, you're kind of on the ground from here to here. With this one, the Vectiv rocker, it's really rounded from front to back here. So it's like a continuous rocker there. Whereas here is kind of a more normal, you don't have that rolling action there until you get like right over there. And then the rear, again, that is the big geometry difference I was talking on the run. You have that roll there, which makes this shoe, I kind of like it, but some people may not be interested in this type of extreme rolling setup here, and if this is perhaps a shoe that you really liked, a little bit too much for you, and certainly if you had an issue with this or an issue with the outsole, then I think this would be a great shoe. Like if you really love this shoe, possibly didn't like what happened with the Pro 3 model, I would take a serious look at this one here. I would go with the same sizing, unless you have this like oversized. If you have this and maybe you're a little touch squeezed, as I talk about over here, I would go with the same size here. You'll have a little bit more space and you'll be just as dialed with the fit of this one. I really love the dialed fit. Love the dial fit of this one. Still love it, of course. And I feel like this one is just about the same here. Thank you for tuning in once again to Humble Running. Let me know what you think about this format. I have more long training runs coming up, so thoughts on the run with different shoes I may particularly be running in, just stream of consciousness. Try to keep it tight. Hope this one doesn't end up being that long. Let me know what other comparisons you would like to see. Of course, against the Kiprun model, other models I may be testing, maybe something from Nike in the near future, and also that Speedgoat 7, want to get my feet into that one real soon. Check out thefeed.com, Tailwind stuff, of course, on this run in particular, recovery here. Stryd 5.0, continued testing. Check that one out. I have links to the Hodos stuff in the description below. Check them out. It's an independent brand similar to what I'm doing here, obviously in a different kind of space. So love to support brands like this. And you know, that cedar deodorant smells really good, and I will keep you posted as far as the magnesium reset spray. Again, got it on the hip there that I was talking about. Also my little wonky right Achilles, definitely kind of rubbed it in there pretty good. So I'll keep you posted on that one. I will see you out on the trails in the next one.